Hi everyone, it's Kat. I just wanted to pop on here and speak briefly about the idea of delegation as a form of self-care. Now, I know the term self-care gets thrown around a lot and it may feel kind of overused these days, especially in reference to kind of goods or services that you can purchase or outings that you can do. But I really have been thinking about it a lot over the past few years in terms of ways to build my schedule or techniques and things that I can do so that life in general feels more doable. I remember hearing a quote a few years ago in the middle of the pandemic, and this was off of, I believe it was the Glennon Doyle We Can Do Hard Things podcast, and I can't remember who the quote was from originally, but the quote was along the lines of, self-care, the best form of self-care would be building a life that you don't feel like you have to escape from. And that really struck a chord for me. It made so much sense. I mean, of course, it's great to go on vacation, or it's really fun to go, if you love getting your nails done or getting a pedicure, it's really fun to go do that, or something else. Go for a hike if that's, your jam. Not saying that any of those things are not good things to do and not absolutely necessary and fun to do every once in a while. But at the end of the day, if your day-to-day life is feeling really difficult and like such a slog that you're just living for those vacations, you're living for those, that glass of wine at the end of the day, it may be time to rethink how you're structuring your days, how you're structuring your weeks, and how you're structuring your time so that it doesn't always feel like life is so draining and such a grind. And now I know that's hard, especially, being a parent to young children, because there's just not a lot of time and energy left over in the day for you. But one thing that I have found really helpful, and I can definitely, this is not an original idea to me, my friend Angie Vargas Martin, I remember her talking about this a few years back, and I've also heard some other really wise people speak about this. But really the idea of thinking about where can you pull resources in and where can you pull people into your life to help you out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be all the time, but at least having those resources and those people available to call on when you're going through a rough patch. Now, most recently, the last few weeks have been a little bit tough for me. Here in New England, I think almost everybody that I know has been having a rough spring. The pollen here has been insane. Now, I've heard that because of global warming, for some reason, the northeastern United States has been warming up more quickly than the rest of the country. And we seem to really be seeing that this year in just the amount of blooming that's happening. So we're getting lots of beautiful flowers and grass and trees and all of that. But along with that is a lot of pollen and a lot of seasonal allergies. And as somebody who already has respiratory issues due to asthma, it's been hitting me hard. So I have been having like stuffy, runny noses like crazy and catching colds on top of that, probably because it's already, probably having all that reaction going on is maybe lowering my immune system. I don't quite know all the biology and physiology behind that, but that's just my theory. We're also currently getting some bad air. We have the air quality is not so great because there's wildfires happening in Canada. And so some of that smoke is traveling down our way. And on top of that, I sometimes get stress-related migraines. As much as yoga and meditation and all the things that I preach and practice help me manage that, occasionally life and stress gets away from me. So, between some of the respiratory stuff and the migraines and then just work and life being busy, I've been struggling a little bit. But I'm really blessed because I live in a multi-generational home. So I have my husband, I have my kids, and then my parents actually share the home with us as well. And then I have a brother that lives only about 10 minutes away. And so as hard as it is, because I am a very, proud person in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of people in Western cultures, and especially women, are taught that really we need to, in order to be strong and independent, we need to do everything on our own. So I do fight that messaging, but something I've really tried to embrace, in part because I had to during the pandemic especially, but something that I've been really learning and working on over the last few years that has really become, I think, crucial in a lot of ways to my mental health and well-being is to ask for help when I need it and not feel guilty about it. And now I know that that is so much easier said than done. There's a lot of rewiring that has to happen around that. There's a lot of, I can talk about this in another video, cognitive behavioral techniques such as thought stopping and thought replacement around, if I ask for help, that means I'm weak, or, I'm a failure if I'm not strong enough, stopping those kinds of thoughts and replacing them with, it's wise and helpful to know my limits and be able to ask for help. So, there's a lot of this work that has, for me, taken years to get to this point. So that's why I'm saying it. I'm not articulating it super well. But my point is that while I know it's not easy, it's a helpful journey to go on. And I will happily follow up this video with a little bit more information about maybe how to work on that, different techniques. But I just wanted to introduce this idea to you all of starting to think about where in your life can you start to ask for help or outsource, whether it's setting up grocery delivery, or I know at least in the US, I think if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can order Whole Foods. You can have them pack up, you can do an order, your groceries, they can pack it up and you just have to pull in and they drop it in your car, or they do it at Target too. So what are some little shortcuts that you can look into to make things easier? Not so that you can add more to your plate. You don't want to say, oh, I'm going to do grocery delivery so that I can do 10 more things. It's where can you take some things off your list so that you can build in that rest and that downtime so that you're not maybe giving yourself stress headaches, or so that you can take the time that you need to really rest and recover if your body is crying out to you and saying, hey, we're a little sick right now, we're a little run down and we need to sleep, or do some yoga, or take a warm bath, or whatever it is that you need to rest and rejuvenate so that you can be present and feel good and happy in your life and not feel like you're just slogging through until the next time you can take a vacation. If you have any thoughts, comments, please post them below. I'm always happy to hear from you, hear any, thoughts on what you would like to hear from more about, or other ideas or topics I haven't touched on yet. Feel free to drop them below, and I'll see you here next time. Take care. Bye-bye.